I guess I really kind of wanted to get into, because it still seems that although there's a lot of public facing emotions now, the idea of showing like anger or frustration, or defeat or something like that, seems to still be something that people try to placate a lot, not only as like a streamer or as a competitor, but also as a viewer.
What do you
I
mean
see
placate?
very often.
Like,
That
what does that
basically
mean?
just means they try to like
Keep
they
it
try
down,
to
suppress
like
it.
they try to like what's the word?
Like you shouldn't
de-escalate it a
you
lot.
shouldn't like show emotion.
Yeah.
You shouldn't pop off. You shouldn't
Well,
throw a chair
it's
across
one of
the
those
room
things.
at HBox.
Well, I mean, Hungry Box is he definitely shouldn't throw chairs, but
but it's
you know,
hype when he does.
that's a whole other story.
I
So
love it.
nah, bro, that ain't.
Anyway,
that's
continue.
lame.
Continue.
So, I think like an easy example for this is, and we keep bringing up speedrunning, but this is like the most easy example that I can really come up with, is that when somebody that is, like a big streamer that's speedrunning starts like, losing time or gets frustrated, people are like, oh, time saved for next run.
Kill yourself.
Like, or like, when they,
I would shoot
when they
someone
barely,
in my chat if they said that shit to me. I'm just,
or
on
when
God.
when they miss like a PB or they miss like a big world record, there is this idea that viewers seem to have where they want to like try and make the person feel better about this thing that just happened, when really you just got to let somebody go through it, and like I think this is the same with fighting games as well, and maybe just in general if somebody's frustrated about something, like let's talk about like Elden Ring, for example, with the DLC being out. Like I saw a guy like play the final boss on that for hours and hours and hours, and like people immediately like would try to like vaguely suggest things even if they hadn't played the game, like or they'll like or they'll try and like backseat your life, right, where they're like, you need to get up and take a break, or maybe you should have some water or something like that. And it's like, that's
bro,
actually
maybe you
worse
should
than
stop typing. Like, how about that? Maybe you should
When
stop typing.
when I'm doing like a major
Go ahead.
speedrun grind,
Yeah.
I've had that happen to me before, where someone tries to coach me through mentality shit like that, or like try to be like, hey, you should do shit like this, and I'm like, you are not qualified to be talking to me about this, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you know who you're talking? I get a little like, almost not like egotistical, but I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
It's also
okay?
just like, I think
the-
I know what I'm doing.
I have spent my like, this is the most important thing in my entire life. Do not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just personality wise, I hate it when people tell me what to do. I'm starting to feel like you're the same way, where it's just like, you
How
tell
could
us
you guess?
to do something or not to do something. Or like, no,
He shrugged.
No.
He was like, yeah.
shut the fuck up.
Perhaps a speech.
It's like the easiest way to make me actually, because I tend to not get angry at people, but like if you're like telling me what to do, or like, that is a very easy, like, that is like the only way I'll get mad at people.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Stop.
No one
So-
could have
so
ever
the-
guessed that I would agree with
So
that sentiment.
the
but
big
yeah.
the big fielding question that I have really is,
Anyone feel
when
it?
do you guys think it's acceptable to show anger publicly
Always.
in this manner? Or like, and when it is acceptable, like what does that look like for you, really?
Okay,
You go
I would
first.
say always in this
Always.
scenario. Obviously, like,
Okay.
don't do it at fucking school or like work or something. Like, there's
Yeah,
times and
mhm.
places, but like if you're on stage, you just lost a match. Yeah. If you just lost a PB, you're fucking streaming in your goddamn room. Like, yes, it is always acceptable. And that's really like, one of my favorite quotes is from, this is funny. Second Smite mention of the day, everyone, is from a Smite
Oh,
Pro
boy.
player
Okay.
called Captain Twig. And his single statement was, it's cool to try and it's cool to care. And that sums up how I feel about anger and people showing anger, which is why I like players like Moki in Smash, which is why I like players like Leffen. It's why I like players like Mango, because whenever you show your anger, it shows me that you care, right? And I love when people care so much. Like, when you can see how much someone cares about something, it doesn't necessarily have to come out negative, right? Like, I like watching Maya, for example, because she clearly cares about like Alveus and the animal sanctuary she runs, right? Different. That's a positive thing. That's, but like, Mango getting fucking mad and salt tweeting. I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm like, yeah, because it's just like it's cool to try and it's cool to care. And I think that when people tell people to not get angry or to like take a break, they don't get what it's like to care about something that much. And I'll say that with my whole chest. You ain't never cared about nothing in your whole life. And that's what I got.
Yeah.
Fair.
I can watch
Jackson, do you
it,
wanna
but
go
Cole,
next,
I don't
or
know
did
if you
you-
had anyone you wanted.
Cole, you want to go?
I guess I didn't answer the other half of your question, which was like in relation to me, but like the quick answer is I just show anger all the time. And
Never would have guessed.
Yeah.
I'll just let it rip. If any of you have been in my streams, you know it's not a fun place. Anyway, go ahead, Cole.
Damn.
I mean, I guess for me, it like kind of depends on like the context of the situation. Like, I mean, Nastani was mentioning like, yeah, in like a gaming, like competitive situation, that makes sense. But even when like, I don't know, I feel like it depends. It's kind of weird and I don't really know how to describe it very well, but there's some like situations where I've been in a competitive situation where being angry is like, I guess the right move, or just a move that wouldn't have many consequences. But then there's other like competitive things, like for example, like I was in theater in high school, and those have the most bitchy diva people on earth who are so egotistical and care about themselves.
Shouts to the bitchy
Ridiculous.
diva hose. Classic Cole
Exactly, bro.
quote. It's my favorite Cole quote of all time, dude.
Is filled with bitchy diva hose. Unbelievable amounts. The meters go off the charts. There's like,
Incredible.
oh my god. If there was a metal detector for bitchy diva hose, if you point that fucker right at the stage at your school, beep, beep, it's going off the charts. Anyway.
Not to
But,
be
like,
confused with
if
the
I
beeps
got
from
mad-
Jax's insulin pump. That
Yeah,
none of you could
sorry.
hear because I cut them out. But like, I don't know why I made the joke because I just realized I cut them all out. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Well, now you
Anyway.
gotta leave them in. Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll leave one in for the people, for the culture. Go ahead.
For the
But
Culvers.
like if I got angry there when like I wanted a certain role and then I didn't get it, and ultimately the other person should have gotten it, but like if I acted on that where like the director came out and was like, the role for this person is Charlie Bellbottom,
Or here's the
name
call
I
sheet,
made up.
yeah.
Yeah, like, and I didn't get it, I wouldn't be like, man, what the fuck? This is bullshit. What the fuck? Like, I would not jump up and be like that. But
I
I'd
think
definitely
it's fine
be, like,
if you let out
pissed
like
in my
one. You
internal
know what I
heart.
mean? If you're just like fuck, like I think that's
Well,
fine.
I feel like
if it
I feel like
lasts
that
for
would be
like
different.
5-10 seconds, no, it's too much in that scenario. But like I
I
think
feel like
one
that
is
would-
fine. Like
No,
Well,
dude. I
here's
don't
the
know.
thing. That feels a bit more like you know, I would expect disappointment to follow that kind of a scenario.
Yeah,
more.
that's true.
Like, and
More
I feel
than
like
anger,
that's
yeah.
almost like a different, right? Because to me, that's almost like, you know, not getting the job, right?
That's true.
Because it's like it's not your fault necessarily because they didn't choose you. They chose someone else, right? As
Pikachu.
opposed to, oh, I lost this match, so or I
See-
choked this
Hmm.
PB. So the failure or the unsuccess in this case was directly in my hand.
See,
I think that's more what we're
interesting.
getting at.
I would say that
That's
like
interesting
theater,
because-
I feel like it does. It is kind of in your hands a lot of the time. I think
That's what
I mean,
was
it
gonna
is.
Yeah.
It's
reply
not that
with,
it's
yeah.
not, but it's like,
because it still is a
you know,
skill.
you're talking about that instant.
Just because like
yeah.
it's not since it's like it's a tryout rather instead of a match. So like the anger is delayed, right? But it's still like as soon as you have it, it's like you just lost the match, right? When you don't get the role. So
Sure.
like I don't know. I'm kind of in between here. Go
But
ahead, Cole.
here's the thing, though. You
Or
can
Jax.
do everything right and still not get it, right? And that's the thing. It's not that they don't choose you for that role because you didn't do good enough. It's because
Someone is better.
oh, maybe they wanted you to do
Someone is
this
better,
thing
yeah.
instead, even, right?
yeah,
And you might not agree. So it's on. To me, it just feels like a different flavor of emotion, honestly. But I feel like we're just kind of picking, or like pulling hairs at this point.
Go ahead, Cole.
And like
I
we're
think
splitting hairs at this
at-
point.
I think though at the end of the day for me it's like as long as I don't get buried in the anger, then anger is fine. Because there's points where like I've been speedrunning or doing something like that and I get buried in my anger and eventually it turns into like kind of like a doubt almost. And I'm just like, man, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why do I care so much about something like this? Like, I feel like it's not making me happy. And even if I do get the goal, like, I feel like nothing will come out of it anymore. But
Yeah.
if you have like the anger because you know you can kind of see like the quote unquote light at the end of the tunnel sort of thing, then it can be a great motivator.
Yeah, basically, if you
And
use
the-
anger as
the-
motivation, it's a good thing, rather than
Yeah.
just being angry.
I-
angry, right?
I think to put into words another thing that Cole got at that I agree with a lot is there's a big difference between getting angry and having a meltdown. Right.
Yeah.
There
that's
is
fair.
nothing worse on planet Earth than like, especially a speedrun streamer, like just spiraling
Yeah.
and just getting like super pissed. It's really uncomfortable to watch. right?
It is very uncomfortable. Yeah.
And
Yep.
you know, it takes a lot of emotional intelligence to be able to, and strength, emotional strength, honestly, to be able to, okay, I'm gonna be angry. I'm gonna cool off as much as I feel like I need to, and I've identified how much I need to, and then I'm gonna come back, and I won't be 100%, but I'm gonna keep going, right? And there's, that great when you there's, I'm not gonna name drop it, but there's a couple
Stop
people
looking
I
at
haven't-
me.
No, I'm not. I'm literally not looking at you. This thing in the middle of my literally caught. I was literally looking at the reflections on Cosmic's forehead. Okay, I kid you
Damn.
not. That was the first thing I saw.
Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
Why
Catch
are
a
you
stray
digging
for no
into
reason.
Cosmic this podcast?
This man is
And-
just mad because the side of my face looks like the fucking crescent moon, bro.
yeah,
just like-
it's a waxing crescent.
Yeah.
um,
See. Mm-hmm.
But